Saban leads the Crimson Tide on the field. They are 15-0 in openers under the GOAT. Utah State already started its season last week with a sluggish win against UConn. The Aggies come in with a win under their belt. The walk from the locker room to the field for this Alabama team is significant because it represents what lies ahead of this team and this program. Each and every year under Nick Saban, national championships expected. But for just the second time in program history, they return a Heisman Trophy winner. They have the nation's best offensive player in the country in Bryce Young and the nation's best defensive player. And here comes the Tide. Alabama has 52 consecutive non-conference regular season wins. They are heavy favorites tonight against Utah State out of the Mountain West. And this fan base looking for redemption for this program after failing to win a national title last year. The captains, Anderson Jr., Toto, and Young, and the GOAT is with Cole.
Coach Saban, having your best player back on offense and defense, how did that assist you in preparing for this game today?
You know, we've worked for this game for a long time, so now's the time to go fight the fight. Now's the time to be a competitor. Now's the time to create an identity for yourself as a player and as a team. So be interesting to see how we respond to that offense, defense, special teams.
Bryce Young told us he wanted to improve his leadership in the offseason, said he specifically came to you for that. How did you help him improve that this offseason?
Well, I think, you know, anybody who wants to be a good leader, first of all, got to set a good example, got to care enough about other people to help them and serve them, and he's done a good job of that.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
It is the 96th time Nick Saban has taken the field at the helm of the #1 team in the country. No one has done it more often. Welcome to SEC Saturday Night, presented by T-Mobile. What a game we have for you tonight. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, you just heard from Cole Kublik, and you heard about Bryce Young Jr., and you've seen his play on the field, but behind the scenes, he may be more impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to quantify just how good he is, right? The accolades, the Heisman Trophy, 4,800 yards, 47 touchdowns. You can quantify that, but probably his secret weapon is his mind, how intelligent he is, which is harder to quantify. Well, Bill O'Brien did a good job of quantifying it. He said Bryce Young is the third most intelligent player he has ever coached. Number 1, Tom Brady. Number 2, Randy Moss. Number 3, a second-year quarterback in college and former Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young. That's pretty impressive.
That is a long resume Bill O'Brien has as well. It's not just the offensive side where this Alabama team excels. It's also the defensive side of the ball, and they feature Will Anderson Jr. Cole, not much better in the country than him.
And it's scary to think about, Tom. Could he get better? We've heard that all offseason. How can Will Anderson get better? We've seen the numbers. Can he win the Heisman Trophy? How could those numbers improve upon what they were a season ago? I talked to David Ballou, the strength coach. He said, now wait for this, Tom, a 40% increase in total upper body strength for Will Anderson. 40%. I honestly don't know how it's possible. He said that was the one thing he wanted to emphasize and focus on. Obviously, keeping offensive linemen off of him in the run game, being able to use the hand-to-hand combat in pass rush situations. I'm excited to see what 31 can do tonight.
Well, he was motivated. He said his high school coach called him bird chest, and so, you know, he had to look a little bit better for the magazine spread, but man, he looks fantastic. Bryce Young ready to go. Alabama won the toss. They've elected to defer. Utah State will put its offense on the field to start. Will Reichard, the senior from Hoover, Alabama, will get us started. And Terrell Vaughn is back to receive for the Aggies of the Mountain West Conference. And we are underway in T-Town. No return for the Aggies under the direction of second-year head coach Blake Anderson. Had an incredible turnaround last year. 11 wins last season after just a one-year season before, and they return one of the most experienced quarterbacks in all of college football. Logan Bonner is just one of 23 players in the FBS playing his 7th year of college football.
And he's at the helm of an explosive offense, Tom. This has roots in the Art Briles system, very similar to what Tennessee does with Josh Heupel. Buckle up. Let's see how fast they decide to go.
Bonner threw for 281 and 3 touchdowns last week against UConn. Calvin Tyler Jr. is his running back, and they will throw on first down. And that is down the sideline to Brian Cobbs. And this is one area that Logan Bonner, Utah State, think that they can attack Alabama.
Absolutely. Head coach Blake Anderson played Alabama in 2018 with Arkansas State. He said the one thing he wish he would have done is take more shots downfield when you have one-on-one coverage. Brian Cobbs, their best receiver, just made a great play.
Ball on the ground. They got to pounce on it. Calvin Tyler, out of Beaumont, Texas, Oregon State transfer, falls on it.
Little jitters, huh? Logan Bonner just threw a dime down the right sideline, but got to remember, shake off the nerves, catch that ball first, and go from there.
Well, that's what Blake Anderson told us at midfield before the game, emphasizing to his team, do not hurt yourself early against a team like this in their place.
31, Will Anderson Jr. has his hands on the ground in the logo, and they'll try to run it. And Anderson, with a fistful of jerseys, starts the tackle on Calvin Tyler. It's a gain of 2. Will Anderson Jr., 6'4", 243.
I think that's going to be a big separator for him when come draft time. How much he enjoys playing inside. He's willing to play inside. Tom, he told us in the meeting yesterday, I like lining up in a 3 technique. Put a guard in front of me. I think those dudes are slower. I got a better chance of beating them.
He's on the edge now. He's got Dallas Turner on the opposite edge. In 15, Turner sure to get the benefit of the attention will go to Anderson. 3rd and 11, and they will try to run it up the middle and not have much luck. A 3-yard gain for Utah State.
Well, that right there shows you the respect offensive coordinator Anthony Tucker has for Will Anderson, for Dallas Turner. Right, 3rd and long, you drop back, let 31 blow up your quarterback. Boy, the momentum changes quickly. So he wants his team to settle in, weather the first storm, and that was it right there. Let's punt. Let's talk about the offense on the sideline and go from there.
Stephen Kotzenle punts it away, and it will hop out of bounds to the Aggies sideline. And the much awaited season debut for the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young, out of Pasadena, California. And he'll have good field position after a 19-yard punt. 2nd in the country in passing yards, touchdowns, and QB rating last year. Hard to imagine he could get much better, but he is playing with more confidence already. That smile suggests he's confident already. No, that's hard to imagine. The guy won the Heisman. You assume, well, surely he played with confidence last year. He did, no doubt about it, but he's got another year in the program. He carries himself with ease. Jahmyr Gibbs, transfer from Georgia Tech, his tailback. Gibbs. And he powers his way to a gain of 2. I believe 2nd and 8.
And you were talking about the comfort that Bryce Young has. He's had a lot of moving parts up front. Another one, Emil Ekiyor, is out, was supposed to start at right guard, so there's some shifting on that front. Tyler Steen, the transfer from Vandy, going to get some looks tonight. That offensive line still a work in progress. But you're right, Bryce Young still as comfortable as ever and confident in that group in front of him.
Jermaine Burton was in motion. They kick it outside to the freshman Kobe Prentice. And Prentice is able to come up just short, but a flag at the tail end. Johnny Carter, senior DB, with the takedown on the 5'10" Kobe Prentice.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 27. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run, and it carries an automatic first down.
The Hedrickers are white hat. Cole, you had a chance to watch Alabama practice last week. Explain what you saw from Bryce Young in terms of carrying himself with confidence.
I thought he was just jumping around a lot more. I thought he looked much more comfortable in his role, patting guys on the rear end, patting guys on the helmet, more vocal than we saw him a season ago. We had these guys twice, and we saw a couple practices. He just looked like a different guy on the practice field to me, Tom.
He wants to throw here. Pressure coming. Young sidesteps it and is able to get it away. Complete for a first down. He threw it through traffic to find Holden. A pickup of 15 as Bryce Young threads the needle with Volkswagen bugs flying at him.
We've heard the term savant thrown out about Bryce Young's intelligence. How about a savant in the pocket? The movement is just unbelievable to set his feet, throw back across his body there. Unbelievable.
Now looking for a screen. Prentice gets taken down. Great open field tackle by Michael Anyanwu. It's a loss of 3.
What, Prentice is a guy they're really excited about.
Yep.
True freshman, came in the summer, really undersized. They didn't really think he was going to get in the mix early on, but he just kept showing up in practice. Great routes, explosive. And he was out there with the ones to start this game.
Freshman from Calera, Alabama. Roddy Oots starting at tight end on the left side of the formation. He's swinging out to Gibbs. Great receiver at Tech last year, and he takes it to the 32-yard line. 19 career games at Georgia Tech. He averaged better than 5 yards a carry and was first team all ACC all purpose, second team specialist, third team running back. He is versatile.
And they really haven't had a guy that I think is as dynamic as him. Not that their backs haven't been elite, they have been, but his ability to catch out of the backfield, 470 yards last year at Georgia Tech. He's going to be a weapon for this passing attack.
Byron Bonds jumped on the edge for Utah State. Vaughn's one of a handful of FBS transfers in this Aggies program. He came in from Texas.
And this is a Utah State defense that is not going to sit back.
They will attack.
No, we talked to their defensive coordinator, Ephraim Banda. He said, we're not going to let the offense dictate to us. We're going to be vertical. We're going to come downhill, come at the quarterback. And you see right now all these guys lined up at the line of scrimmage. They're going to make Bryce Young sort out who's coming and who's dropping right now.
They call that the Prowler package. 3rd and 3 now. Pressure. Young gets hit as he throws, and it goes incomplete. Bryce Young said something interesting in our meeting yesterday. He said, if I take a shot from somebody who's unblocked, it's my fault because I set the protection wrong.
Yeah, and this one was Bryce's fault. It's tough to see early on. You can see pressure come all the way from the wide side. He looks there right before the snap, but just never double checks as a quarterback, especially when they're all at the line of scrimmage. Set your protection, and as soon as you catch that ball, have 360 vision, 180 vision. Make sure you see everybody in case someone comes and you're a hot throw away. Didn't see it that time.
45-yard attempt for Will Reichert, and that one will curl inside the upright. Alabama able to score on its opening possession, but held to a field goal as Young went 4 for 5 on the opening drive. Utah State will have the ball when we return. It's a home opener for the Alabama Crimson Tide. They're 96-8 at home under head coach Nick Saban, and the anticipation through the roof for this Alabama program. I suppose you could play that clip every year. They're always expected to win a national championship.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. Just like every time you go to clean out your air ducts, you're like, well, I probably should have done that before. You can expect it because you never think about it.
Meanwhile, Utah State changed their air filters before last season, and boy, the result was clean, wasn't it?
I mean, we saw the same thing, that style of offense, right? The up-tempo attacking offense. They do it on defense too, but we saw Tennessee kind of turn their program around in one way or another as well this last year with that same style system. But man, it was great talking to Blake Anderson. I believe in his vision, but to turn around a team that quickly from one win to a Mountain West championship, 11 wins.
They were in shambles. First Mountain West championship in school history, and ended up in LA at the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. When are you going to have your own bowl? Stirs with the tight end motions, and they'll check with the sideline. Calvin Tyler Jr., the running back transfer from Oregon State. He gets a touch, and he immediately gets met by a host of Alabama players.
Well, it's a really good job by Justin Boygby right here in the middle, number 92, holding up his guy, shoving him off with the left hand and making the tackle. That's grown man stuff right there, Tom. It's like Cole at the buffet, just grown man stuff.
Doing work.
More Brussels, please. 2nd and 9. Up his back foot, a little bit behind and incomplete, trying to find Kyle Van Leeuwen. I want to go back to something that their coaching staff told us. We touched on this a moment ago. Blake Anderson said, we think we have the athletes. We can attack the cornerbacks deep down the sideline.
Yeah, but he also mentioned got to make sure that it's advantageous, right? That they're not rolling a safety. Of right now, you see a 2-safety look, but because of the spacing at the bottom of your screen, Justin McGriff, he's out of the picture right now, but he's a 6'6" receiver matched up on Kool-Aid McKinstry. If I'm Logan Bonner, I like that matchup. I don't think the safety can get over the top. I might take a shot downfield, but the question is, can you get it off quick enough with Will Anderson coming off the edge?
Utah State, one of the most successful in the country last year outside the numbers, and he heaves that one incomplete through it 20 yards past his receiver. Brian Cobb's the closest one, and take a look at Will Anderson getting into the backfield.
Well, I tell you what, he's flashed, but Dallas Turner a few times already as well has flashed. Both of them getting pressure. See Turner there and Will Anderson going low.
So the amount of power that he's able to generate with that kind of leverage coming off the edge with the speed. Turner's had a couple nice inside moves, as you mentioned, Jordan. Those two are just going to be a handful all year.
The Aussie punter constantly gets into that one. Bobbled a little bit by McKinstry. Nothing but white shirts in front of him, and still able to make something out of nothing. 9-yard return after a 43-yard punt. Well, the last 4 quarterbacks at Alabama in their 15 starts have been sensational. Bryce Young has met those expectations. He is keeping pace with some greats.
Yeah, those guys both starting for NFL teams, and Bryce will be doing that very shortly as well.
47-7.
It's his first year, Tom. First year coordinator. I mean, it's not supposed to go like that. Even at Alabama, it's not supposed to.
No gain as Gibbs gets hit in the backfield. Bryce Young came in for our meetings yesterday dribbling a basketball. I said, how often you take the basketball around? He said, well, I keep it in my locker, and I kind of have it with me all the time. When he left our meeting, he had about a 30-yard walk to the door, and he was handling the ball behind his back and between his legs without looking down, up the whole time. He looked like Steph Curry. And there's a reason for that. That's a guy that he looks up to. He loves watching him play. Has time, and on the run, delivers a strike.
He looked like Steph Curry navigating the pocket in that one play. Last drive, was it?
Yep.
In and out, dribbling down the lane, finding somebody.
Had a chance after the Heisman ceremony last year with the Warriors in town to take on the Knicks. Went by a local steakhouse, spent some time with them. Went and watched the game at the Garden. 4-man rush, and wide open is Prentice. He finds some open space and takes it for a gain of 16. And Cole, he told you that was one of the big moments of his offseason, even though it was right after his season, before his season was even over.
No, absolutely. I said you did a lot of cool things this offseason at SEC Media Days. He told me by far coolest thing I did was be able to meet Steph Curry, be able to chop it up with him a little bit. And you think about a lot of cool things Bryce Young's gotten to do in the last 4 or 5 months.
Midway through the first quarter, second drive for Alabama. It's Prentice again, and the freshman takes it down to the 5. Garvin Hall, a one-time Alabama recruit, with a tackle for the Aggies.
Oh, it's a little fake bubble screen. They're going to pump it. Bubble screen here, and then Prentice is going to leak down the sideline. Fake block, leak down the sideline. Bryce does a great job of using his eyes to pull those defenders. I tell you what, it's already looking like this true freshman Prentice is going to have a big role in this offense.
Nick Saban called him the day after he committed to Maryland. He impressed the Alabama coaches with his 40 time at their camp, but didn't leave town with an offer. First and goal. Young fires. Too high. Aiming for Jermaine Burton, another new receiver. He transferred in from Georgia. Well, Alabama has had some success with transfer wide receiver.
And he's the next one, right? I mean, you saw what Jamison Williams was able to do, the third guy at Ohio State, kind of an afterthought. Jermaine Burton was grossly underutilized at Georgia. 26 receptions in 14 games last year. He's going to blow up this year. He can do everything.
Chase McClellan now in at running back. His first touch. Just a yard for the junior from Aledo, Texas. Johnny Carter, the stop.
You know, this red zone area, it's an area right now they miss Cam Latu.
Yep.
Right, tight end, getting 11 personnel, 1 tight end, 3 receivers, 1 back, and he is so savvy at working in space, finding that open space, kind of a safety blanket down here for Bryce Young. He'll be back shortly, but right now they'd love to have him.
He practiced this week. Saban told us yesterday he was on a pitch count, only about 20 reps. So Oots in there, tight end now. Less of a receiving threat. Young dances, fires, end zone, caught! Touchdown, Alabama. Jermaine Burton. That caps a 7-play, 60-yard drive. And Riker punches it through. These two guys grew up near each other in Southern California, know each other well, finally on the same team.
Yeah, we talked about this Steph Curry comp, the connection there with Bryce Young. Look how cool, calm, and smooth he is navigating the pocket here. Slight movement, always in balance, always comfortable, and delivered a strike to Jermaine Burton. Remember that name. He's the next big one, and the Heisman Trophy winner is off to a hot start.
SEC Saturday Night is presented by T-Mobile, bringing 5G to hometowns across the SEC.
Charles Woodson, the only defensive player to win the Heisman. It was in '97. You have a buddy who's a Tennessee fan. Send him a tweet now and remind him about it. He was the third Michigan player to win it, joined Tom Harmon and Desmond. And it's not that often you see defensive players get that kind of respect from the Heisman voters. But it figures that Will Anderson Jr. is poised to have a season to join, if not the likes of Charles Woodson, others who have finished in the top 3 of the Heisman voting that played on the defensive side.
Yeah, and I think he should have finished higher than he did even last year. To anybody but Alabama fans, you might have said, oh, he kind of came out of nowhere, middle of the season. You know, people probably didn't know Will Anderson unless you're an SEC fan or you're watching it a lot. It's going to help that right now he comes into the season as a Heisman favorite. He puts up some similar numbers, he's going to be in that conversation all year.
The key with those players is team success.
Yes.
Right? And in fact, Woodson and Michigan finished the season undefeated, won the national championship. Hutchinson, Te'o had teams that were in the discussion for a national title at the end of the year. Play clock winding down. Logan Bonner with the wide receiver out of bounds. Cole, were you surprised when we were talking with Blake Anderson when he said, I feel like our wide receivers can win some matchups in the perimeter?
No, absolutely not. I mean, listen, when you play Alabama, you're going to get man coverage. You have receivers that can go attack the football and then have maybe a size advantage, really any advantage. Just give me something. Brian Cobb's, he's a hell of a route runner, so he gives you advantages there. Obviously, 10 gives you a size advantage. So if you're going to get those one-on-ones and you have guys that can attack the football, you take advantage of that. I wasn't surprised to hear it at all.
Calvin Tyler Jr. with the run up the middle. Cobbs, transferring from Maryland. Xavier Williams will be on the field, though we haven't seen him yet. He's an Alabama transfer.
Yeah, another part of that too, Tom, is this team's pretty new at corner this year. So that would be the area you'd want to try to go after.
See if they decide to bring pressure here. Got a safety capping.
There it comes on 3rd and 6. That is caught by McGriffin. He is stopped short of the line to gain. Dallas Turner shows his versatility by dropping back for the tackle. Freshman All-America season last year for the Fort Lauderdale product out of St. Thomas Aquinas. They're going to go for it on 4th and short. Bold move by Utah State. They're 0-1 on fourth down last week. Five-man rush to the edge, incomplete. And Alabama's going to have sensational field position.
Boy, I love the play call. I just wish Logan Bonner would have worked to the field. They motioned the back to pull that linebacker out of the window. He's that way. Hit this slant right here. Look at all this green grass you got. I think he had an opportunity with an inside release right there. Just looking for his one-on-one matchup, as we've mentioned a couple times already tonight. But the way they use spacing, find that green grass and attack it as frequently as you can. Obviously, I'm not down there staring at Will Anderson and Dallas Turner, so that's a whole other problem that you're trying to sort out in your head. But that's one. He'll go to the sideline. He'll talk to Anthony Tucker, his offensive coordinator, say, hey, next time when we come back to this, I like this matchup. Let's attack it.
Bama saw this offense, or at least a version of it, last year when they played Tennessee. Josh Heupel was at UCF, and their offensive coordinator now at Utah State, Anthony Tucker, had been with Heupel at UCF.
This is shot territory here. Change of possession inside the 40.
The play action. Rice goes deep. It is incomplete. Flag down on the coverage of Jermaine Burton from Michael Onyanwu. Yeah, sometimes it's easy, just laughing about it. I knew the play was there.
Pass interference on the defense, number 22. That penalty will be enforced 15 yards from the previous spot, and it carries an automatic first down.
Getting a condensed formation, little play action. And Jermaine Burton is going to be on a deep corner route there and just slightly underthrown, right? Here's the thing. They have a million reps together already, but not game reps.
Yeah.
And that's a little different. So the chemistry is going to involve. It's not going to take very long, but that's one of those throws that they won't miss that next time.
That was their first play with 12 personnel with two tight ends in the game. Here's Gibbs to the outside, and he's knocked out of bounds. We were at practice last week and going good versus good. They continually gave it to Gibbs to get to the outside, and even if you think he's bottled up, he's got speed and strength to gain yardage.
He's got another gear. I mean, the burst, when you watch him on film and then you see him in person, it just, you're watching film, you're like, man, that guy's fast. He can move. You see him in person, you're like, oh my gosh. When he decides to click it into another gear, there's not many guys that can keep up with him.
Spent the last couple of seasons at Georgia Tech. Gibbs changes direction, and then he gets stood up. No gain.
Not a new wrinkle, but a little bit of a new look for this Alabama offense this year. These last two runs, gap scheme runs. So a couple offensive linemen going to block back, a couple going to pull counter on that play. You saw a truck or a horn play the previous time. That's one that I know Eric Wolford and Coach Bill O'Brien want to get going because they know how Gibbs can get to the perimeter.
Wolford, the first-year offensive line coach, came in from Kentucky, did a great job with the big blue wall in Lexington.
It's Jermaine Burton in the slot right here. He's going to be working in man coverage. Bryce Young sees it, just said something in that direction.
Second and goal. Quick hitter to the slant and to the end zone. Touchdown, Trayshawn Holden for 9 yards out. Todd cashes in on the short field. He went from the finger roll to Nick Saban, and he quickly settled down. Oh, yes, Coach. What did you see?
He's probably talking about the underthrow.
Yes.
Yeah. It's nice you threw a touchdown, but hey, that throw, you got to put that 4 more yards outside.
He did tell us yesterday, he said, you know, Coach Saban talks about his high school quarterback days a lot more than you would expect. Takes pride in what he did. And Bryce Young off to a great start here tonight for Alabama.
Yeah, and that's an audible. Line of scrimmage, saw what he wanted out there, got Trayshawn Holden involved, the guy that was here. Completely different role this year. Everybody getting points so far for Alabama.
This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. After a 3-play, 34-yard drive on a short field, Alabama kicking off again. And once again, no chance for a return. Busy day in the league. Here's Dari.
All right, Tom, thank you much. Let's update Vanderbilt, looking to go 2-0 at home against Elon, up 14-zip. Mike Wright to Will Shepard for the touchdown, and the Doors are up 21-7 on Elon at the moment, guys.
All right, Dari, thanks. I was doing some research when I knew we were doing a Vandy cut in. Mike Wright's got another rushing touchdown. Another one.
Chalk it up.
We haven't seen that since Austin Carter Samuels. This guy, Jordan Rogers.
So he passed me?
No, you tied. You're the only other Commodore to do it in the last 15 seasons with a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown in all 3 halves.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Will Anderson doing damage. Cole, what'd you see?
See, you can't wait to read a mess point with a guy that can attack the football that fast. You just can't do it. Will Anderson wants to attack. He is in attack mode on almost every play. You can read him, but it better be a fast read. They almost take the pre-snap read and go ahead and make your decision.
The entire building went John Madden. They just showed the replay on the big screen, and everybody said boom in unison. Bonner hits it to the outside, and Cobbs fights for 9.
And that's a nice push on the right side of that offensive line from 41, Chris Braswell. He's the other guy. We talked about Dallas Turner. We talked about Will Anderson. You could make a case that 3 of the probably top 10, maybe top 5 if you really wanted to stretch, outside linebackers in college football are wearing an Alabama uniform on this field tonight.
Wow. Eli Ricks is rotated in a corner. He's at the top of the screen. LSU transfer. They'll empty the backfield. That's dangerous. They let it go, incomplete, going towards Ricks and trying to find Cobbs.
Jordan, you dropped a wow there. Let me just give you a couple other notes here on Chris Braswell. 700-pound squatter, 405-pound power clean. Pound for pound, one of the strongest football players on this team.
And a quick math, that's David 1,100 pounds.
How about this? David Blue, the strength coach, told me he is in the top 1% as far as lower body power of any player he's ever been around.
Good roll from Kotzenle. 51-yard punt. Bryce Young has started this game 9 for 11 for 89 yards, couple of touchdowns.
I mean, the full arsenal has been on display. The pocket movement, the mobility, the accuracy. I mean, look at just those subtle movements in the pocket. It's very Tom Brady-esque. I know you don't just throw those out, but Bill O'Brien did talk about Tom Brady and Bryce Young in the same breath in the intelligence, and he has been laser accurate. The Heisman Trophy winner has not missed a beat.
Alabama was held to a field goal on its opening drive. Since then, smooth sailing. Young wants to go deep over the middle. Coming back for it is Holden. And Holden gang tackled after a pickup of 16.
Life slowed down.
Quick hitter to Prentice. And he made the first man miss before taking it to midfield. Bryce Young not bothered by being off platform.
No, it's the little things he does. Look how quickly that ball comes out. His feet really don't move, right? He gets 1 foot out of the way of the running back, but doesn't step towards his target, doesn't square up to his target, flips it out there. That gives Prentice the time to hit the crease before a defender gets there.
On a debut for the freshman, already 60 yards on 5 catches, and now Gibbs. He powers his way to 9. A lot of options here on 2nd and 1. Going to the tight end, Robbie Oots, sophomore from Rock Hill, South Carolina. Cameron Latu Practice this week, but Nick Saban told us he was on a pitch count, was out there for about 20 reps, and should be good to go when Alabama travels to Texas next week. Injured player for Utah State will stop play with 26 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Alabama is averaging 7.2 yards per play. There's Latu, turning tight end.
And it's pretty remarkable. Without Latu in the lineup, Bryce Young is without his 6 top pass catchers from last year. I mean, he's breaking in a completely new group of receivers out here. We're seeing true freshmen contribute. We're seeing Jermaine Burton transfer from Georgia. We're seeing Robbie Oots, a young tight end that's kind of like an H-back guy, in the mix.
What's the biggest challenge for a quarterback when you've got a whole new group?
Well, it's just what I mentioned earlier. It's you can get on the same page and build chemistry in shorts and T-shirts in 7-on-7. You can build chemistry in team, in practice, in fall camp, no doubt. But when the lights turn on, things happen differently.
Yeah.
Right? You can't always predict exactly. Coaches hold up the cards. Hey, here's where the defense is going to be. No. Sometimes routes take longer to get off the line of scrimmage. Some guys adjust differently. Some guys have game speed that's another notch that they don't have in practice. So these are the reps where you're really going to find out what the chemistry is like, where it's at, and how to build on it. And we're starting to see that.
Well, Kessie Vaka'ura, the injured Aggie, helped to the sideline. Leaves 3rd and 1. Ephraim Banda, the Utah State defensive coordinator, said we want Bryce Young to have to think after he takes a snap and make a decision then as opposed to before. So they're trying to disguise a lot of what they do. Toss to Gibbs. Full head of steam. And he picks up 6. He is going to be a wrecking ball for Alabama this year. No issues for Alabama in the first quarter. Bryce Young, 11 of 14 for 121 yards and a couple of touchdowns. The only thing that slowed him down was talking with Coach Saban after his finger roll over on the sideline. Good start for Alabama. Their freshman receiver Kobe Prentice is on a roll. Bryce Young has thrown a pair of touchdowns, and Bryce Young leaping with joy through 1 quarter of play. You're watching SEC Saturday Night, presented by T-Mobile. The crowd on hand at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Alabama. McClellan gets taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Penetration up front from Utah State from Sinitui Aki. He's a redshirt freshman out of Salt Lake City.
I mean, the difficulty of playing a defense like this is it's not a 2-gapper where defensive linemen are going to hold up and try to play 1 gap, peek their head around, and try to always be in position. They're going to shoot gaps. So if you're not shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip on some of your double teams and your movement up front, someone's going to leak right through, and that's exactly what happened.
Just gives you no time to recover.
Yeah.
Ephraim Banda, their DC, made it sound like Alabama was a simple offense to prepare for, in the sense that he said, listen, they only have 10 plays, but they run them really, really well. Young sidesteps again and threw it just a hair behind. Coverage by Hunter Reynolds. But talking with Banda about it, he said, it's hard sometimes for coaches to take their ego out of it, but be really good at 10 plays. Some have massive playbooks just to justify their checks. It was clear that he said what Alabama does, they're elite at what they do.
Yeah, and they have elite athletes doing it, right? So you're right. It's not overly complicated, right? There's not a ton of tempo. There's not a ton of different looks, but they have the best guys doing it, and they give you just enough wrinkles in the moment. Makes it tough.
There's a prowler look. Only one defender with a hand on the ground. 3rd and 12. Bryce with a chance to run for it. They'll tuck it, pick it up, and it gets taken down from behind. Down to the 6-yard line.
It's a pretty good job by that offensive line handling that, because I can tell you it's a headache. You get in there, you see 5, 7 guys that are just standing up. You have no idea who's who, what their designation is as far as defensive lineman, linebacker, DB, and then that gives them the ability to stunt, slant, go any different direction. Also, Joe Lee Dunn ran that. We called it wild when I was at Auburn, played against Mississippi State, and never fun to deal with, never fun to prepare for.
It was an 18-yard run for Young. Roydell Williams in the game. And Bryce Young finds him out of the backfield. Taken down to set up 2nd and goal.
I'll tell you what, that's a really good tackle in space. Andre Grayson, the cornerback there. Roydell Williams is a big back. You're sitting out there on an island. It's you or a touchdown. It's actually one of the better red zone defenses in the country last year. They did lose a lot of their pieces and going against a different beast here tonight, but it's a team that'll get after you in the low red.
11th play of the drive for Alabama. Touchdown. Bryce Young finds Jermaine Burton for the 2nd time tonight.
All right, it's an RPO. This is a run play that is called, and Bryce Young is going to get his eyes on this overhang defender right here in number 2. If he goes in, he's got a slant right behind him. That's a called run play and a great adjustment by Bryce Young. It's like a point guard out there. Just whoop, whoop. Nice little assist.
So Alabama basketball coach Nate Oates on the field before the game. Got some talent in the building. Now Bryce Young and Jermaine Burton hook up again. Jermaine is from Atlanta originally, but spent his high school days in Southern California. Bryce told us yesterday, he said, we're at every 7-on-7 camp, but we never played together. I played with everybody else. Now finally playing with Burton, and it has worked out well for Bama.
Dari Noke in studio. Why don't we update, shall we, South Carolina? Spencer Rattler's first start. Well, here's a little pitch to Marshawn Lloyd, who does the hard work to get into the end zone. Extra point, no good. 6-zip early 2nd. Gamecocks against Sean Elliott and Georgia State.
Well, Dario was wondering why Doring skipped out on his studio work tonight. We got the answer. He's following the game with Courtney Lyle, and they get a chance after this touchback to see another transfer quarterback in the SEC. You could put together almost a roster full of them.
It's the wild, wild west. You got a Big 12 starter. You got a Pac-12 starter, well, projected starter, Pac-12 starter, and a couple other guys that transferred in and got beat out, but still one play away. This is the new era of college football. We're going to see this a lot, but pretty impressive to see guys coming all the way across the country, a few short months, stepping in and taking over SEC programs.
We saw quarterbacks transfer before the transfer portal blew up, but it was usually a guy who didn't win the job.
Right.
That's somebody who
wasn't very good.
Yes, that's somebody who was looking to better his standing. 31 on the edge. And they run towards him, and guess what? He picked up the tackle, swallowed up Calvin Tyler Jr.
Boy, when you watch Will Anderson, he's so good with his hands. Right on the right side of your screen, watch him push 74 completely off of him. With those long arms, he's able to get off him and get right to the running back.
Aggies going tempo here. We talked to him about it yesterday. He talked about having heavy hands. That one delivered on time, but then dropped by Terrell Vaughn. I always thought as heavy hands is a boxing term, right? You deliver a punch and you get heavier hands than the other guy. He uses it talking about his strength.
Yeah, it's one of those guys that when he hits you, puts your hands on you, you just, like, you can't do anything. And or you jump back 2 feet.
And now 3rd and 9. And those heavy hands come at the end of very long arms. 4 wide for Utah State. Logan Bonner just 3 of 9 through the air so far this evening. Play clock at 2. And they'll try to run it, and they cut him down. And that will put Utah State in a punt situation. Jalen Moody with the tackle.
Look, when you don't want to block him, you just try to run option away from him. Problem is, you got some other good guys on the other side as well. They're just going to call option here, so they don't have to block Will Anderson on the right there. But Boygby, I think, came in there. Broke that up, caused the running back to get vertical. Defensive line playing well. Obviously, it's a different opponent they're going to see in the SEC up front, but impressed so far.
Short punt from Cottonley last time. And McKinstry backing up. That wasn't easy. Makes a fair catch after a 53-yarder. Cole, we're talking about Will Anderson Jr.'s hands, being able to deliver a punch, but it's also that reach which makes him effective.
I don't know. I think It still can be punched, though, by the way. I mean, if you're rushing a passer, if you're taking on an offensive lineman in the run game, it can be punched. And I think also that's something that has to do with your grip strength. But the length in which he's able to utilize his heavy hands is what gets you. The photograph that you see is Will Anderson extending his arms into me, who played offensive line. He's actually touching me right there. And you see how far away my hands are from being able to touch him, which means if I'm trying to block him, I better win with my hands quickly. I better win with my punch quickly out of my stance, or Will Anderson's going to be able to control where I go as opposed to me being able to control where he goes.
Bryce Young with play action again, pressured, scrambles away from it. He's had a couple of big runs tonight. Now he's got the sideline. Here goes Bryce Young into open field. Little stutter step back inside, and he makes his moves all the way down to the 15. It's a 63-yard scramble for Bryce Young. And he tight-roped it down the sideline at the beginning.
Boy, he's not a burner, but he is a really good athlete, and you give him some green grass, he's going to make you pay, and just flirting the line there. Staying in bounds. Oh, a little Euro step in there?
Yeah.
I mean, a little hop, skip, and whoop.
Utah State has an injured player.
Quarterback, we're not used to running that long, so when we get out there, you kind of just start slowing down. Okay, where can I fall? Where can I fall? Like, you know, I'm not going to make it to the end zone. I'm going to look good and go down right here.
It is a career-long run for Young. Hale Motupuaka is the injured Aggie right now. Total offense for Bryce Young, 211 to Utah State's 41.
That right there is that's not ideal.
Well, depends on who you're pulling for. We pull for Dari Noka. What you got?
Well, you know what I got? All this hype on Anthony Richardson, right? That train is steaming down the track. Why? Because of his athleticism. 45 yards against that Utah defense. Finds his way to the end zone. Billy Napier's Gators lead the Utes by 1. 10 seconds left in the half.
Well, like we've told you, the SEC is home to great running quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson and this guy Bryce Young. Young steps up, holds the pocket, and just a hair late to try and get it to Ja'Cory Brooks. Coverage by Anyanwu.
I was talking about chemistry earlier, right? Ja'Cory Brooks here actually stutter steps at the top of this route, and that's kind of why the ball was a little bit off. See, as he turns the corner here, a little stutter right there. Not sure if he's thinking he's settling. Bryce Young obviously thought he was going to keep going. Without that stutter, probably a touchdown again. First game, shaking off some of the rust, getting the chemistry, getting the timing down.
Swing out to Prentice. It falls to the ground. He scoops it up, and they say it was a forward pass. So you talked about Alabama having wrinkles. Did you hear the screams from the Utah State sideline? Sweep, sweep, and instead they throw it to the receiver with Gibbs going the opposite way.
That's the worst feeling ever. You do film study, you're like, okay, out of this formation, this motion, here's what they're doing. It's 90% of the time. Well, yeah, the coaches over there, they know that too, and they're going to say, okay, instead of doing that, let's do this. I remember as a quarterback looking at a defense, okay, they're going to roll here. This is what I've seen on film. They don't do it. It just completely throws you off.
Jermaine Burton, the outside receiver on the top of the formation. He's got 2 receiving touchdowns already.
Bring that running back in to see if it's man or zone. They gave you a zone on that side. Looks like he's going to have man up top, though.
Nick Saban not happy. He's a timeout, and he's exasperated on the sideline. His team is only up 24. Our Hometown Connection brought to you by T-Mobile. Subject is Emil Ekiyor, who is from Indianapolis at a Cathedral High School, and he's used his NIL money to help others, lending not just his name and his platform, but also extra effort to go with a nonprofit organization and a national bank to provide shoes for kids whose families can't afford them, especially back home in Indianapolis. And he said, I remember vividly having a teammate as a kid who grew up in juvenile and foster homes, and one day at basketball practice he busted right out of his shoes. They were so worn down And he had to give an extra pair of his shoes that he had because he was in a better situation, Ekiyor, growing up. He said that stuck with me. I think it's really cool that fast forwarding now, I'm a person giving shoes to kids based on one situation like that. Shoes can be an important thing for kids trying to play sports or just live life. Fantastic work by Emil Ekiyor.
No safety help here. Watch Jermaine Burton attack the middle here. Slot receiver.
Out of the timeout, 3rd and 10.
Bryce Young signaling something over there.
Pressure from the edges. He's got man this side. That's complete. A spin, first down, touchdown. Trayshawn Holden. "14 yards to Trayshawn Holden. And Bryce Young has thrown for 4 touchdowns here in this first half. Reichard's been busier this first half than some kickers have been all day. 31-0.
You know what I love here? We've seen already a few times down in the red zone, Bryce Young signal out to his receivers, right? He's changed a couple plays. One for a touchdown earlier to Trayshawn Holden, I believe. One time he missed Jermaine Burton. He's signaling out there to the field. He ain't going over there. He knows where he's going. He's throwing that out to the boundary. He's got man coverage. He likes it. Like,
he's just playing mind games?
He's just playing mind games. I mean, just thinking ahead. Just go, okay, I'm gonna, yeah, let's do this. And this helmet tap doesn't mean anything, but maybe they'll think it does. And I'm gonna throw this because my guy's got cushion and he's gonna make a play, and that's a touchdown.
Told you about Emil Ekiyor, and he's in on the celebration. Do safeties react to that? Does that buy you a step, or is it more than just a step? Is it all of their attention?
It's the attention, right? They may not move, but as soon as that snap goes, that's where their eyes are going to go, right? I mean, he's just setting things up, right? It had nothing to do with that play. It had to do with the next time he's down there. They'll be like, oh, well, he signaled and they didn't throw it over there. It's reverse psychology, right? You signal once, you throw it over there. You signal the other time, you don't. Always keeping the defense guessing.
Chess versus checkers.
Exactly. You ever played chess?
No. More of a Chinese checkers kind of guy.
I was on a chess team.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
First chair?
3rd grade. No, I think I was like the 2nd rotation of the main. I got one game in on the state championship. I won.
Really?
Yeah, the move was sitting there for like 8 other moves, though. I didn't see it forever. It was pretty embarrassing.
You're just a pawn to rook 4 kind of guy, aren't you?
It's a queen's gambit out there.
New quarterback for Utah State. The 24-year-old in his 7th year is replaced this moment. It's Cooper Laga, junior from Orem, Utah. He was the MVP of the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. And his first pass is blown up. And the receiver, Kyle Van Leeuwen, had nowhere to go. Kyrie Jackson read it well. It's a loss of 2.
Watch Kyrie Jackson see the ball and run through number 8 right there.
Jeez.
Buckle up that helmet, son. Watch this. I mean, that is... He didn't even tackle him. He got number 8 to tackle him.
Woo! There's competition at that cornerback spot. Jackson is showing he belongs on the field. They go to Kyle Van Leeuwen again. This time it's a safety, Jordan Battle.
You're right. There's been a competitive spot all camp. Terrion Arnold started. Kyrie Jackson now in on the other side. Kool-Aid McKinstry started the game. Eli Ricks has spelled him a few times. I think that'll continue to rotate a little bit. I think there's still some sorting out on the edge for Alabama.
Laga facing a 3rd and 9. Pressure, and he will scramble. Laga got hit just short, and we'll see where the spot comes. It looks like the head linesman has it as a first down. And it will be. Lagat did not get in the UConn game, but the last game of the last game of the season last year for Utah State in the bowl game, he became the first FBS quarterback to throw a touchdown in a bowl game on his first career pass. Ended up throwing for 171 yards against Oregon State. And sneaking through is Calvin Tyler Jr. Here comes the tempo for the Aggies.
Yeah, this offense, right? It's not full speed all the time. Once you get that first down, then you start to push the tempo a little bit. You want to get things sorted out first. It's really a momentum tempo for this offense.
Try to run it again. And that's going to leave third and about 3. Brian Branch the stop. Utah State has already gone for it on 4th down once in this game. They failed, and Alabama scored 3 plays later. 1 of 6 on 3rd tonight.
Yeah, man coverage across the board. Somebody's got to separate.
Too high and through the hands of Xavier Williams. It's a former Alabama player, Williams, who spent 4 years here. And on 4th down, Utah State's offense will stay out there. And Will Anderson Jr. will return to the field. Will Anderson Jr. looks at quarterbacks like Cole Kublik looks at Brussels sprouts. He is ready to devour Cooper Lagat. Utah State uses a timeout, facing a 4th and 3. Blake Anderson trying to get his team going. They haven't scored yet. Fansville brought to you by Dr. Pepper.
Alabama opener, Dr. Pepper, the drink of the tide. Roll Tide.
I didn't see that product placement during Bama Rush on TikTok, but maybe next year. Whoa, he is slobberingly happy to be here today.
You're on TikTok?
4th and 3, Utah State will punt it away. And that one will hop out of bounds to the Alabama sideline. Special thanks to our friends at Wheels Up, helping make travel easier. Jordan was in Fayetteville pounding solo cups with John Daly this morning, and here in Tuscaloosa this evening.
Yeah, I got some loudmouth pants from Daly. Got a couple tips on my swing.
Did you swing the club?
I did, yeah.
Hit a driver in front of John Daly?
Yeah. Well, it was an exploding ball, but I did. He said, "Don't swing out your, you know what, next time."
Oh, you were swinging out your.
I went for it.
Halfway through the second quarter, Alabama has scored every time it's been in the red zone. Roydell Williams is in the backfield now. John Daly played a little high school football. He was a great kicker. Elias High School in Jefferson City, Missouri.
There's a nugget.
Yeah.
Kicker, huh?
Remember Clay Hench was a tight end here a few years ago. I think he played for his grandpa. But 31-0, so I don't have to be perfect. There's Miles Kitzelman, sophomore from Linden, Kansas, by way of Hutchinson Junior College. Picks up a 1st down. Fake to Prentice, and they'll run it with Roydell Williams, and he's got a gash. 11 yards for the product of Hueytown High School.
I do love that this Utah State defense is still being aggressive. They're still bringing guys off the edge. That's their identity. They're sticking to it. That leaves you a few gaps every now and then. That's what you saw Roydell Williams hit right there.
Cole, when we talked with Ephraim Banda, the defensive coordinator for Utah State last night, where did you think the game plan may leave them exposed?
on the perimeter, number one, because they're a north-south defense. They want to attack upfield. So when you do that, hard to retrack and get back to the outside, and then deep down the middle of the field, because they're not going to play 2-3 safeties a lot of the game.
Manda had been with Manny Diaz at Miami. He's one of just 2 Hispanic defensive coordinators. Shot to the end zone too strong. Manny now at Penn State. Talking with Coach Banda yesterday, he pointed out, being in Miami, it recruited and saw a lot of these Alabama guys in person, so well aware, if anybody else wasn't, of their skill set. And he said, one thing about Alabama, they go and play for Nick Saban. I know how good these guys were in high school, and they get better each and every year. Alabama 4 for 5 on third downs this evening.
Offside on the defense, number 0 in the neutral zone, causing an offensive reaction. 5-yard penalty. It remains third down.
Come on the road, you take on number 1. Utah State in its history's only beaten an SEC team 1 time. That was at Kentucky in 1970. They're 1-17 against SEC teams, and that makes it 3rd and 2. Here's McClellan. Got forward for the first down. Young sneaks it out of the backfield with a flag on the play. Williams is able to pick up 5.
Get a little pass interference there in the secondary.
Holding on the defense, number 6. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, and it carries an automatic first down.
Let's go to the studio. Here's Dari.
All right, Tom. Kentucky taking on Miami of Ohio, of course, in a tight game coming out of the half. Second half kickoff. Barry and Brown takes it. Now he'll do what might drive you crazy at the end of this play. Nearly drops it before he enters the end zone. They looked at it. Touchdown, Cats.
Well, Kentucky with a 10-point lead in Lex. Young gets away to the far side. And that's good for another Alabama first down. It goes for 13 yards.
Yeah, that's Isaiah Bond, another true freshman, a talented true freshman, as they have a few of them now. He was a little banged up. I was talking to an offensive analyst down there on the field before the game. Said he might be the best of all of them. Got a little bit of a late start because he was banged up at one point. Well, not the biggest guy, but another dynamic young receiver. That was all the conversation, right? How do they fill all these voids? They don't have anybody. They got some young talent, man.
You didn't exactly narrow it down. I think they have more analysts than they do tuba players.
Yeah, one of the 100 that are down there.
Here's Gibbs. Man, great vision, and the cutback will take him down to the 3.
I mean, Jordan mentioned the youth of those weapons. I've seen a couple of plays where Alabama's had 3 freshman receivers on the field. So if you were wondering what that core group was going to look like, I think Nick Saban, who told us in our meetings with him yesterday, we've got 6, 7 guys that we have to play, younger guys, because we know what they're going to be able to give us later in the season, and we need to begin to get them reps now. Wide receiver looking like one of those spots that he meant.
He didn't make a direct comparison to Amari Cooper with any of these individuals, but as a situation. He said we knew what Amari Cooper was going to be, and so we used him in places maybe he wasn't exactly ready, but we knew we needed to facilitate that development.
Corner out.
2nd and goal. There it is, and incomplete, and no flag. Trying to find Bond.
So junior college, I gray shirted. Oh. So they made me sit up in the booth and pick signs. I already got his sign for that 3x1 corner route. Like that little draw right there?
Yeah.
It's a dribble sign. Oh, I didn't say that.
Oh, interesting. Well, he'll be changing that sign soon.
I made that circle before the snap. 2 true freshmen there. Cole mentioned it. Rolling these guys in there. Valuable experience.
My guess is, with all due respect, if you picked up their signs, Utah State has picked up their signs
probably.
as well.
Also, it could be a fake sign. We've seen them doing that all night, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an indicator. It's like baseball. Now I gotta touch my right earlobe, and then I'm live. Then I'm live.
Delay a game. And that'll back Alabama up. .340 to go in the half. Bryce Young has already thrown for 4 touchdowns. Threw 5 in the first half. Mid-November last year against New Mexico State. Trying to match that here on 3rd and goal. Pocket collapses and they take him down. First sack of the night. It's Daniel Greshik, Nevada transfer.
Greshik does a really good job starting on the inside of looping and working back out around his man. Little spin move there on Robbie Oots. I mean, that's just motor.
That's a good pass rusher, though, on a tight end one-on-one. I mean, it's just I always will say, don't understand how you can ask a tight end out on the edge against a decent pass rusher to survive more than 2-3 seconds.
33-yard attempt for Will Reichard. And that one is true. Bama 34, Utah State nothing.
Dari, Ben, Takia, we'll see a Regions halftime report coming up in just a minute. Utah, Florida, tight game. Utah looks like they're close to scoring. We'll update that also. Georgia, dominant of Oregon. What do you make so far of Alabama?
Well, it looks like Alabama picked up where they left off. New faces, same old game. Bryce Young, 4 touchdowns. Yeah. Defense holding Utah State to 1 yard of carry.
I'm excited to see some of the new receivers Alabama put.
We're seeing some now.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. See you at halftime, guys.
All right, gentlemen, thanks. Look at Pete Golding. Alabama kicking off here. Pete Golding, the defensive coordinator, and Cole, if he needs some help, he's got a lot of guys in that building he can lean on.
There's no doubt about it. 58 yards for Utah State tonight. I'll be surprised if they give up much more of that in the game this year based on the defensive coordinator prowess that they have. Saban served as a DC. You see the schools that Pete Golding, Charles Kelly, Travaris Robinson have served as defensive coordinators. Well, Sal Sunseri's on the staff. He's been a DC a couple places. Dave Huxtable's been around town. And Todd Grantham from Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State. We all know about his high pressure scheme. He is now on staff here at Alabama. Guys, that is 7 defensive coordinators that have been a DC in college on this Alabama staff this year. The brain trust of defensive scheme within the halls of the Alabama football facility is obscene for this team.
Cole, their backgrounds are, how would you describe them? Similar or very, very different?
I think very different. I mean, there are some that are from that Saban tree, obviously Sal Sunseri. Now, if you go back and look at it, Todd Grantham is from the Saban tree somewhat, but he kind of branched off a little bit, did his own thing, and became a little bit more high pressure. So I don't think Coach Saban wants to bring in a guy who has a completely different philosophy, because he wants him to understand what they're attempting to do, what they're attempting to get in, how they fit the run. But I think he loves new and innovative ideas that he can add to a scheme that's similar to his.
On 2nd and 10, they try to run it, and Calvin Tyler swallowed up. It'll be a loss of 2. Deontay Lawson on the stop for Bama. Saban wants a timeout. And he will ask the nearest official to politely wake up. Nick Saban wasn't having his way initially. Kind of similar to what it is at home with Miss Terry. And this summer, he walked through all of his various roles at home, and he said, you know what, I'm pretty good at that too. Well, Nick Saban said, listen, I got these jobs she wants me to do. She wants me to run the sweeper and then pledge the refrigerator at the end. And he's got a lot of trophies to trash.
And he said, hey, I'm a lead at all of them.
That's right. Y'all think I'm good at this. I'm pretty good at that, too.
I would imagine.
What would Miss Terry's scouting report be?
Well, honey, there was 2 streaks on the fridge. So I'm going to need you to go back to the film room.
I've heard Saban impersonations. I've never heard a Miss Terry impersonation.
I don't even know what impersonation that was. I only met Miss Terry once, and she was an angel. So
3rd and 12, and that'll make it 3rd and 17.
False start on the offense, number 56. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it remains 3rd down.
They will rush 3, and they flick it out to Tyler. The Oregon State transfer gets spun around. Henry To'oTo'o is able to yank him down, and it turns into just a 2-yard gain. Henry To'oTo'o back for another year at college football. The one-time Tennessee star in his 2nd year with this program.
Yeah, and when you watch Henry To'oTo'o, he's not the biggest, not the fastest. He diagnoses things so quickly. I mean, he was all over that, scraped the blocker off him, made the tackle. When he sees something, the time between evaluating it and going full speed is pretty elite. That's what makes him special.
2nd team All-SEC. He's played a lot of games in this league already. Kool-Aid McKinstry serving as the punt returner here for Bama, Utah State. Then any big rush to get their team out there. What's that in your hand?
Just I can change the channel. You know, you're pretty boring, so I'll be like, hey, let's.
Don't change it to Utah, Florida. We're fighting as much as we can to keep people interested.
I get to watch some replays over here. I tell you what, I've been really, really impressed. The big question mark coming in was Alabama receivers, right? Who was going to be out there? We knew some of the names, some of the young youth out there. I'm really impressed. Some of the true freshmen, already impressed with Jermaine Burton. I think Trayshawn Holden is going to have a much bigger role. So it's been fun to watch so far.
1:15 left here in the first half. Here's McKinstry. Backwards before he could go forward. Well, speaking of those freshmen, or probably this wide receiver core, Burton and Holden, pretty good night.
Yeah, we knew the talent that Jermaine Burton had, right? He's an unbelievable route runner. You see him working at the top of the route there, creating separation, savvy in everything he does. And Trayshawn Holden was a little bit of a question mark. They just hadn't asked him to be a go-to guy, but he has won in one-on-one coverage tonight when they've asked him to. And Bryce Young has just been laser accurate with nearly every throw. Missed a few to Burton, and I think that chemistry will come along, but him and Trayshawn Holden already have the chemistry, and Burton, man, he's going to be special. Absolutely special.
Holden came on the scene in 20. Used a lot more after Jalen Waddle was injured. Patson throws to the outside, and that is incomplete. Trying to get it to Ja'Cory Brooks in the sideline.
And I think there's a big difference, right? I mean, Holden has a lot of experience, but what I mean by the role he's asked to do, this is a pro-style system in a lot of ways as far as the concepts that Bryce Young will work through. When you're the 3rd or 4th read on a concept, a little less pressure in how you're creating separation and getting open. Trayshawn Holden's going to be a guy that's going to be the 1st or 2nd read in a lot of these progressions. He's going to be asked to win against elite corners consistently. So he's going to have a much bigger role. I think he's primed to step into it.
Throwing on 2nd and 10. Oh. Great catch, but then Trayshawn Holden got folded in half, held on to it, gain of 17.
Wow. Unbelievable catch right here. Bryce Young's going to watch film and say, hey, my bad. I gotta settle you down there, but great job at the point of the catch of securing that to his stomach before the contact.
With pressure coming, Bryce Young throws it wide, and there's a flag after he went down. Patrick Joyner Jr., transfer from Miami.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense number 0 with targeting. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. That play is under review.
Cole, one of the questions we had as we look and determine if this was indeed targeting and if we'll hold up after review is how is Bryce Young so good at avoiding a lot of big hits? Well, that one definitely came after the ball was out.
But I think that's one that, like you described earlier, Tom, he's going to have an understanding that certain ones are going to be on him. And you're only going to have 5, 6, or 7, whatever you designate the protection to be. And there are going to be certain guys that you need to be responsible for. It was one of the things that I was just fascinated with going back and watching some games from last year, trying to study certain individuals on this team they're going to be playing this year, was Bryce Young just not taking big hits. There was one against LSU where he rolled to the near sideline, took a pretty big hit there, but he just has that innate ability of either getting down early enough, having a little bit of a juke, understanding when to go out of bounds, and how to manipulate the pocket. So Jordan almost never take those big hits. And you talk about quarterback protecting himself or a team protecting a quarterback. Well, you can get that out of your guy. It's obviously going to go a long way because you're probably going to keep him in the lineup for the entire season.
Yeah, he sees things so well pre-snap, right? So you hardly ever surprise him. This one here, just on the targeting, a couple reclassifications this year. They did reclassify the quarterback, the throwing posture immediately before and after the release of the football. He's a defenseless player, which means this doesn't have to be crown of the helmet. Right? It's forcible contact to the head or neck area. To me, it looks like there's an indicator as well as he seems to lurch or lunge upward a little bit towards the head area of the quarterback. So to me, this targeting will be confirmed and Joyner will be out of the game. The other classification, the targeting to the crown of the helmet, they actually changed it. Now it's a 6-inch radius at the very top of the helmet. So they're trying to re-emphasize the very top of it, the apex, and less kind of just above that face mask.
Yeah, it used to be the top of the, essentially where that Aggies logo is right where.
Yeah, it used to kind of be right there, would be included in that crown. Now they really want to focus on lowering of the head and that 6-inch radius on the apex. But because Bryce Young is a defenseless player there, doesn't necessarily have to be crowned.
Here's the confirmation.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Number 0 of the defense is disqualified.
And they'll bring it early into Patrick Joyner's night.
I tell you, that's tough. I mean, the coaching will tell you to mechanically be better in that, but you finally get to Bryce Young. I mean, you want to make some contact, you know?
Yeah.
So I understand going full speed, and
especially the DNA of this defense.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, one of the other things about Bryce potentially taking hits, told him when we met with him yesterday, I said, you look a little bigger. He said, yeah, about 12, 15 pounds he put on in the offseason. So he's bulked up a bit to try to withstand some of that punishment.
Although he did audibly laugh when he learned that Will Anderson's high school coach called him bird chest. He said that about you? Intimating, well, what would he have said about me? After the penalty, we'll scramble. Another big run for Bryce Young. And he takes it down inside the 10. 22-yard scramble. Another half minute to go in the first half. Young fires back corner. Did he get a foot down? Holden was out of the back of the end zone.
Tell you what, they're going to be practicing some corner routes this next week. They have just been barely off. I mean, that hits Holden's hands, but it's a little bit toward the back of the end zone. The quarterback, you want to lead him a little more towards that back pylon. have a few extra yards there. Took him a little far upfield.
So towards the flutes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just right of the flutes there, Tom. Let's see, it's close, yeah. Toe just on the line there.
Meanwhile, that was more towards the marimbas.
What's a marimba?
That'll show you at halftime.
Cousin
Like a xylophone. Yeah. Young flicks it out, and Jace McClellan takes it in. 5th touchdown pass of the first half for Bryce Young. McClellan gets in on the fun. It's already the 4th career 5-touchdown game for Young.
Well, it's just a perfect storm here. Utah State brings a big pressure to Bryce Young's left. You can see Jace McClellan just leak out to the right. There's no linebacker there to have him. A safety's responsible for that, but he's not even close by the time Bryce gets him the ball.
5-play, 62-yard drive.
Well, sometimes you guess right. You never know exactly when the pressure's coming or what it's going to be. But Bryce does a great job of evaluating this. Knowing eventually he's going to be hot with the amount of guys that are coming off this edge right here. And his running back's going to work up and just leak out. And nobody home. That might be the end of his day.
Mentioned that he did that last against New Mexico State. Yeah, no reason to come back out, you would assume. Or he's sitting in there in halftime. He can watch a live performance of the $1 Million Band on SEC Network Plus, and you can do the same. Start streaming now on the ESPN app.
They got marimbas down there. They're going to do that at half?
Yes, marimbas will be out. They'll roll them out. They're in the far left side right now. Percussion family, very similar to.
You think they have a group of like nose flutists?
No, I don't think there are any nose flautists.
How about this? Oh yeah. How about recorders? I was good at that in like 2nd grade. You know.
Hot cross buns.
Yes. I was just gonna say that's the only thing I could play.
Same tune as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Not near as cool of a name though.
Yeah, come on. Cole, did you find your way away from the tubas? I know they were in your line of sight earlier.
They were. I might have taken a bonk or two to the forehead.
I thought, you know, with inflation being what it was, now the $1 Million Band might be 1.25.
At least.
At least. And at halftime, we will teach Cole the difference between a tuba and a sousaphone. 15 seconds to play in the half. Utah State has gone to its 2nd-string quarterback, Cooper Legoff, for the last few drives. Nothing doing with Logan Bonner, their well-traveled starter. His 7th year of college football, 3 of 9. Legoff 3 of 4. But the story, Bryce Young, his 2nd 5-touchdown pass half, matching what he did against New Mexico State last year. And this team leader will greet his teammates as they head back into the Alabama locker room. Nick Saban standing by with Cole.
Coach Saban, this Utah State defense was going to give you a lot of looks, do a lot of different things. How do you feel about how your offensive line and Bryce Young handled that tonight?
Well, we haven't handled some of their stunts in the run game very well. We've done a pretty good job in the pass game, except for the 1 sack we got down here. So we made some big plays because of their pressure. But, you know, we knew going into the game they're kind of a big little team. They're going to try to give you bad plays, and I think we've won that battle so far with more big plays than what they've given us bad plays.
Defensively, when your front plays the way that they have tonight, what does that do for you and Pete as far as how you call it and what you want to see from 2nd, 3rd level?
Well, I think the big thing we're able to do so far is play a little more split safeties. We can stop the run. They got you so spread out that if you got to play middle of the field coverage, it's tough coverage on everybody. So I think that being able to play the run up front's been the key for us so far.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Folks, there is nothing better than hearing Nick Saban talk ball, and he does it with Cole Kubelik every time we get him. That is fantastic stuff going into the locker room. Bryce Young's playing great ball. Alabama in its opener is rolling. Nick Saban has never lost a season opener since he's been in Tuscaloosa. 41-0. Let's take you to the studio.
Oh, it is indeed the region's halftime. So here's what we're looking at right now on the ESPN networks. Utah, Florida. Utes just scored, took the lead. It's over on ESPN. Notre Dame, Ohio State. Yes, a shocker. The Buckeyes.
Bryce Young and Alabama with a 41-0 lead over Utah State as we start the third quarter. Bryce Young's numbers are simply amazing, but what we'd expect if Alabama had 41 on the board as they do. It's his second 5-touchdown half, the same against New Mexico State last year. He's 18 of 28, and those are the numbers. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, Cole Kublik down on the sideline. What are we not seeing that he is doing or not doing tonight?
Well, it's the total command he has of this offense. We've seen a lot of the signals out to the receivers. What you're not seeing is how much he's dictating, sliding protection, re-miking, re-IDing. He's in complete control of every aspect of every play that he runs. And all that stuff you're not seeing. You're just seeing the big throw, the touchdown. He's doing everything.
What's next?
Well, next he's got to work on a little bit of his moves, maybe. I don't know. I've seen some basketball moves out there. We've been talking Seth Curry. You know, here's the thing. You got a defender coming at you right here. You want to get one step that way, and then you're going to get the second step going this way, and he's going to be lost, and then there's your step, you know. There's your Euro step. I mean, it's twofold, right? As a quarterback, you always want to look guys off. So you want to get your vision going that way. You're going to get one step going that way. Then that defender, he's going to be gone. And you use that second step, bam, and then here's your basketball hoop right here. And you just, little finger roll.
Well, what happens when Nick Saban's waiting for you?
Well, Nick Saban's in that little half circle. He's trying to take a charge. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm not going up and contesting that, so I'm just going to stand here and...
One series for Bryce, you think?
Yeah. A little surprised he came out here after half. I know they're working with a lot of young receivers out there, and Jermaine Burton, even a guy that want to build chemistry.
Wow. How about this for chemistry? There's one hit, and Jahmyr Gibbs with the cutback, then a stiff arm, and he's inside the 10. I don't know if he ever went down. That might be a touchdown, but as of now, they have him whistled down at the 8 after a 58-yard run.
One of the spots on this offensive line you wanted to watch was right tackle, 65 J.C. Latham. Big question mark coming into the season. Massive question mark late last season for Alabama. There you see right there. Pin him, roll him up. Number 1 to the house. I think 65's done an excellent job here in the first half watching him so far.
He was kicking up dust on that sprint. They'll try to give it to him to punch it in, and Gibbs inside the 5. Talking with Bill O'Brien about how Jahmyr Gibbs was recruited out of Georgia Tech. He said once we found out he was available, we popped in the film. I saw it, my eyes got big. Coach Saban saw it, his eyes got big. He said, yes, this is the kind of back that can help us.
Yeah, I mean, as this offense continues to evolve, they don't want to be just drop back, spread, throw it. They want to be able to play action, but also use the running back out of the backfield, and he fits that perfectly.
Young. Touchdown. It's a 100-yard rushing game for Bryce Young on 5 carries.
Again, he's so calm moving the pocket. I mean, look, that's a little disrespect there. He looks behind him, just run straight for the goal line. I love it, though. I mean, he's in total control.
It's a Saturday night stroll for Bryce Young.
I'd be having fun too. 6 touchdowns later.
Yeah, you think? Well, he's a big Steph Curry fan, and so you look how Steph carries himself when he's on the floor pregame, getting ready, and it's work, but it's also kind of Cali cool, right? And the looseness that they carry themselves with.
Always look calm, collected, but also like you're having fun the whole time.
Now he just needs a hype man like Draymond Green is. Towards the end of warm-ups, he threw about a 40-yard touchdown pass on a go route, and as soon as he let go of it, he turned around. Just like Steph would on a three-point attempt before it gets to the rim.
And I'll let you guess where it ended up.
In his receiver's hands. Bryce Young rushed for 81 yards all of last season. He has rushed for 100 yards tonight. And there's Will Anderson Jr. going back to work. Cole, you had a chance to talk with Blake Anderson at the half. What did the Utah State head coach tell you?
He said we just want to treat it like it's 0-0. We're going to play a lot of guys, want to get great effort. We want to actually take something away from this game. So execution going to be critical. Going to keep coaching our guys up. Obviously something that we want to be able to build on for the rest of the season.
Cooper Laga is the second-string quarterback. He played majority of the second quarter. They also have Wyoming transfer Levi Williams. Boy, almost blew up the handoff again. That time it was Dallas Turner who blew it up, and Jalen Moody picked up the tackle.
You know, there's two things you can do when you're playing a team that's running zone. You can either try to play both, keep contained, or you can just come and crash the party right away, and Dallas Turner never thought about it. He's crashing that party. The outside linebacker to his side is scraping over the top, so there's a little bit of an exchange of responsibilities there. Sure makes it tough as a quarterback to make that read, knowing, well, even if I pull it, there's going to be a linebacker right there anyway.
The yardage difference. Laga chased and denied on the perimeter by Kool-Aid and McKinstry. Cole, interesting talking with Pete Golding about the competition at cornerback and how a guy named Kool-Aid is the most consistent guy to have.
He is a young man that they say is a dedicated worker, say the game means a lot to him. They want to see him stay in phase a little bit more and be better at playing the football down the field when it's in the air. I talked to T-Rob about him a little bit before the game as well, but somebody who I think we see the NIL stuff and you see the name, you hear how he's highly recruited, multi-sport star. But they said he's one of the hardest working guys that they have, and somebody who absolutely loves football, loves putting in the work in the film room and obviously on the practice field.
T-Rob, cornerback coach Travaris Robinson in his first year on Nick Saban's staff, and a timeout taken by Utah State.
That is their first charge timeout.
Alabama 48, Utah State nothing.
Dory Noka in studio. It has been back and forth at the Swamp. Utah leading Florida 19-14 early fourth. Montrell Johnson Jr. had a big drive. They went for two. They got it. Gators by a field goal over Utah. Could be a bad day in the Pac-12, guys.
Yeah, it could be. It started off poorly for the Pac. Georgia scored on its first 7 possessions and hammered Oregon 49-3. 3rd and 11. Coming out of the timeout, nowhere to run. Calvin Tyler Jr. no gain. But that Florida-Utah game, guys, that's pivotal, I feel, not just for the Pac-12, but for the SEC, for Billy Napier, for Florida, for that rebuild. Man, you just hit fast forward if you pull that thing off.
Absolutely. I think we're all wondering what the culture was going to be like, how hard they were going to play. I think both those things last year at times didn't live up to the standard that we're used to seeing at Florida football. And you got talent on that roster. Anthony Richardson, one of the most talented players, dual threat quarterbacks in the entire country, having a big day. In Utah, Cole, we were talking about it. To me, Utah is still, it's a close game, but still a team I expect to be in it at the end, if not a playoff team.
Remember, they lost early last year, Cole. We're looking at the top 10 in results so far today. Number 1 going to stay number 1, and Ohio State trailing Notre Dame.
Wow.
I think that Ohio State score, I know there's a lot of ball left with Utah, Florida, but that's the biggest surprise to me right now. And maybe not even that Notre Dame is up, but 7 points for Ohio State?
Everybody and the brother thought the over was going to hit on that thing. That is
we know where you are.
Defensive slobber knock. No, just my brother. He's not very smart. New quarterback in for Alabama. Jalen Milroe will get snaps, and Bryce Young's night is done. Product data, Katy, Texas Tompkins High School in his second year in the program. Jermaine Burton still in the game. McClellan is tailback, and they'll dump it off to Burton, who's got room to run. It's an Alabama first down. Cole, what do we expect out of Jalen Milroe tonight?
Explosive ability, number one, and a young man that Nick Saban just wants to see if he can continue to develop as a quarterback. They know what kind of athlete he is. They know how he can run. Last year, Coach Saban told us he's the fastest player on the football team. Jameis Williams was on that team. So we know what he's able to do. We've seen him turn the corner multiple times. A lot of us thought last year they're going to put some sort of a package in for him. But can he develop as a quarterback? Can he read things? Can he make the right decisions? You know, can he adjust ball tempo, ball velocity? It was a nice job right there on that little rollout. You know, throw a little changeup. Don't have to throw a fastball. So he wants to play quarterback. It's what he wants to be. And Nick Saban, Alabama, are going to give him that opportunity.
Cole mentioned fastballs and changeups. He throws a slider sometimes too.
Yeah, we were down there watching him. The arm talent it jumps out, right? Everything he lets go is a rocket. But yeah, an interesting ball flight. We were kind of noticing every quarterback's got a little different. His tail's a little bit. That ball tails a little bit as it's traveling through the air. Doesn't really matter. It's just unique. Every thrower's a little bit unique. I tell you what, the physical tools are there. He's in the right place to develop. Bill O'Brien, and be able to sit behind a guy like Bryce Young, who is pretty much like another coach, sitting there in the room with him, talking through why you looked a certain way, why you check this protection, what reads you're doing. So he's right where he needs to be to develop the mental side of it to match the physical.
A.J. Bongpachon, the injured Aggie, who heads back to the Utah State sideline. Milroe puts it in McClellan's belly, and he's got the sideline. Just crunching down there. First down.
What's crazy about Jalen Milroe is in any other offense outside of maybe Ohio State, he would have a package and he would have plays. Woo, they're hitting. He would have design packages and plays every single game. The problem here is you're going to take him out. I mean, sorry, you're going to take the Heisman Trophy winner out? No, you're not, right? So, I mean, he's that talented. Any other roster outside of maybe Ohio State and C.J. Stroud, he'd be getting a lot of playing time in every game.
Delivers that thing on time. A spin move by Burton. Back the other way. Bill O'Brien spoke with us about Jalen Milroe yesterday, and he said, you know, last year we had some plays for him, and he held his hands out about the size of an index card, and this year that has grown and will continue to add to his plate. 6'2", 212. There's Bill O'Brien in the middle. Looking for the screen, and he fits it to McClellan. And McClellan takes it in. Jalen Milroe with the touchdown pass for Alabama.
Boy, watch these guys get out and block. Kendall Randolph here, number 60 on the left side, just keeps driving this guy. Locks in, keeps driving him, pushes him all the way out of the way. Cole, you near a monitor, you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
There have been some really nice combo blocks and individual efforts in the run game on that drive from that offensive line.
Alabama with a double nickel.
And then there you get out in the screen game, get able to get in space, get to go find one. Gotta love it.
Milroe congratulating the offensive line, and Bryce Young finding his backup. That is how it's done. Look at the road to the championship, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. And if you didn't read the headlines, college football playoff expansion is on the way. 9 months after it could have been here, but regardless, expansion to 12 teams approved. scheduled to start by 2026 at the latest. The 6 highest ranked conference champs, plus 6 at-large teams. And the top 4 teams, all conference champions, would earn first-round buys. The 4 first-round games would be played at home sites, which I absolutely love. I wish, honestly, there were more home games.
Yeah.
If you think about it, if you're Alabama, you're the #1 seed. Not getting a home game.
No.
I mean, yeah, there's value in the bye, but you don't get a chance to play here at home in December and play for the playoffs. What do you like and not like about this?
Well, I like what you said. I love the fact that the home games are there. It brings games that have meaning, not just bowl games. I do love the fact that there is a road to the national championship for a group of 5 teams. A better road. Multiple, it's a stretch, but at least one group of 5 champion is going to have an opportunity, and I think that's great for college football as a whole.
Greg Sankey was asked about it today in Atlanta before the Georgia-Oregon game, and he pointed out that, listen, this is not any different really than what we had, and it was just delayed by 9 months. And this is a very complicated process. Get the television rights done, get the stadium secured, and 9 months behind where we could be at this point. Regardless, it is what it is. Cole, what was your interpretation of what came down?
I like the fact that we're going to be able to have more teams involved, but I don't like doing it just to involve more teams. I still am a proponent of earning your way into the playoff. I think the way that it's structured, a lot of it is going to allow for that. I do think that they had to go ahead and say the top 6 top-ranked conference opponents, and you can't just go out and say Power 5 right
champions.
now. Yeah, correct. Because we don't know exactly where the Pac-12 and the Big 12 are going to be in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. So I think there are a few things that had to be done a certain way because of the uncertainty with where college football is headed and knowing what conferences are going to be what.
Utah State is on its 3rd quarterback of the night. This is Levi Williams, transfer from Wyoming. Got in a couple of snaps against UConn. They have specialty packages for Williams. They're now get a chance to air it out on 3rd and 5. And it is incomplete. Nearly hauled in by Nana Davis. He's out of Etowah High School here in Alabama. First committed to Billy Napier, Louisiana, and ended up at Utah State.
Some hand fighting on the outside. That's not a bad ball. Little on the inside. Malachi Moore in coverage. He's right in phase. Good position. Like Cole mentioned earlier, with Kool-Aid and learning to play the ball, Malachi in great position with his eyes back at the ball there.
Stephen Stanley's still going to get off the punt.
False start on the offense, number 39, 5-yard penalty. It remains 4th down.
And so they'll back him up a little bit further. We had an Aussie punter from Ball State Thursday night that loved ice cream sandwiches. Cold. What about Stephen Stanley? Did you learn anything about this Aussie?
Asked him before the game if he had an ice cream sandwich before he came to the United States. He confirmed that he had not. Did not know what it was. Had not heard of it. He did, however, say, I need to know exactly what you're talking about because we have variations of it in Australia. And I just said, you know, the old school 2 chocolate wafers, ice cream in the middle. He said, nope, never had one.
That's very good.
What are they? What
That's
are they
not
doing
an ice cream
down
sandwich.
Under?
This is an ice cream sandwich. Here's notable future conference changes coming your way. Of course, Alabama goes to the OK Royal Memorial Stadium next week to take on Texas. Oklahoma and Texas scheduled to join in 25. Big Ten, you know, you didn't read the headlines this offseason. We'll get UCLA and USC. And the Big 12 next year will add Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, and BYU. How does all this get impacted possibly by a 12-team playoff?
Yeah, I think it accelerates some of those conversations, right? I mean, there's timelines for when teams are going to come over, 2025, 2024. Obviously, right now, that new change would be 2026 for the playoffs.
Illegal snap on the offense, number 56, 5-yard penalty. It remains 1st down.
I think there's still a huge push, a lot to be done, as Greg Sankey was mentioning. He wish he would have done it, started 9 months ago, but there's a chance that happens earlier. If so, I think some of those conference changes could happen earlier as well.
Quinn Ewers has thrown for a couple of touchdowns. Texas leads Louisiana Monroe 30-3. They're in the 3rd quarter. Jalen Milroe, 2nd series. The hair behind Isaiah Bond.
comes down to mechanics, right? As a quarterback, your feet are always going to dictate where your velocity is, where your accuracy is that time. Feet a little too far wide open, missed the ball in that direction.
I work the screen back to the middle of the field. That'll pick up about 5. Christian Leary, first grab of the night.
Another one of the talented young guys they have, a true sophomore. She had a big 50-plus yard touchdown in the spring game thrown by Jalen Milroe as well.
Bama averaging 8.5 yards per play. Milroe gets it out. Trey Sanders. Welcome to the game. Pickup of 11.
Boy, I love that by Jalen Milroe. Why we talk about the athleticism. He's such a good runner. Steps up in the pocket, and when it would be really easy to just take off right there. His eyes are still downfield. Little flip to the running back. It's a great job of knowing where your check down is and getting rid of it for a guy that probably for a long time would have just taken off and tried to win with his own speed there. But you already see the crumbs of development there for Jalen Milroe.
Milroe will keep it on this one. Off the read. Lowers his shoulder, gets a couple more.
Not many DBs expecting that from a quarterback.
Yeah, not many quarterbacks do this, Cole. Full speed. He never even said, I'm going to juke you. I'm going to run you over. I mean, there was zero hesitation. Throwing shoulder and all. Come on.
As Gervin Hall, who very well could have ended up in an Alabama uniform at Palm Beach Gardens High School, was a 4-star recruit. AJ Vongpachan in his calf cramp treated once again. Hall ended up playing at Miami to start his college career, but wasn't that long ago when he was a junior in high school that Nick Saban showed up on campus on a recruiting visit. It was early enough, couldn't visit with Hall, but there's Coach Saban and Mike Loxley getting out of the chopper, showing up in Palm Beach back in 2017. I think there's cream pies in that chopper.
I don't know. It looks kind of like a Harrison Ford movie. Like he'd be the president in the Harrison Ford movie.
And Loxley's Secret Service.
Yeah, just going to, take down a terrorist or something. I mean, very presidential look there by Nick Saban.
2nd and 3 now. Uh-oh. Going deep. Intercepted. Ike Larson with the takeaway. Great recovery by Larson and cut right in front of Christian Leary for the pick. Couple flags down late. Might cost some yardage on the return, but looks like the pick will stand.
Following the change of possession, illegal block in the back on the defense number 48. That 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the spot of the foul. First down for the defense.
Well, it was a great read by Jalen Milroe. He's going to read this safety here. If he stays up, he's got Christian Leary on a deep cross. And he's got exactly what he's looking for. That safety stays up tight. Leary's got 3 steps, and that ball is just underthrown. I mean, Milroe could probably throw to the end zone from there. So that's one of those times you're just trying to be too perfect, not overthrow him, and you don't get enough velocity on it.
I'd say one thing cool to see, Ephraim Banda, the Utah State defensive coordinator, was going absolutely nuts after that interception. Patting his guys on the helmet, running back and down forth the sideline, jumped about 4 feet in the air after the actual pick. Love to see the excitement, enthusiasm still coming from that Aggie coaching staff.
They'll run the sweep with Nana Davis. We would assume that an Alabama kid like Nana Davis wants to show up this game. He was a first-team All-State performer at a bunch of different positions at Etowah High School. Won the state championship on the 100. A 10.6 900-meter dash.
You think he knows what Foxy Brown Il Nana even is?
No,
I don't. What is that?
No surprise.
Foxy Brown Hill Nana?
It's ill. I-L-L.
Ill.
Hill.
Oh.
You might have to explain it, Cole.
Well, you just check your local music server, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get yours.
Hey,
check that out.
Hey, Boomer,
See what
did
it's
you
all
say
about.
music server?
Service.
It's called an app.
Service.
You click on
streaming
it.
service.
It's got all. Well, I'll have to check that out on my music server. Maybe I'll grab my iPod. It's a shuffle, but
I thought you had the big one.
Pull it off Napster. Running
I'll burn
room
the
for
CD
Terrell
for you.
Vaughn.
I was more of a LimeWire kind of guy. Always felt like, you know, I was always scared. Everyone said, oh, yeah, the FBI is going to come after you. You can't illegally download songs. And so I never really got that big of a library. I thought the FBI was going to come after me if I had like 100 songs. They didn't.
Well, there's still time to find some Foxy Brown or some Method Man. Anything from Def Jam late 90s, be right up your alley.
More of an Avril Lavigne kind of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, why do things have to be so complicated? Hey. I mean, I see the way you're acting. Like you're somebody else. Gets me frustrated.
Memo to our bosses: we need a close game soon. Back-to-back blowouts and Avril Lavigne lyrics and ice cream eating on the field. These are the positions we are put in.
I'm dying to use this telly. There's just only so many things I can draw on.
Cole's drawing on kids Thursday night. Trips to the right side, and they're going to run it. And that's Robert Briggs, freshman from Belleville, Texas.
Well, sometimes you just, this guy's going to go this way. He's probably going to go there. That guy's going to go there. That guy's going to go there. He's probably going to go there. He's going to try to hand it off here. And then it's just kind of, you know, sometimes you just want to draw on the screen. That's kind of what happens.
Is that your John Madden tribute? Oh, boom. Third down 2. A little hurdle right into the waiting arms of DJ Dale. .340 and counting in the third quarter. A fun one in the Swamp tonight. We'll be there in a couple of weeks. Florida knocking on the door, trying to reclaim the lead against Utah with 1.5 minutes left in Gainesville. 4th and 1. They will punt it away. Kool-Aid McKinstry remains in as a punt returner. And that is a punt and a catch. 35-yard punt. Alabama will be backed up. We'll see who they bring out for quarterback and if Milrose stays in the game here in the third quarter.
Guys.
I don't know what that dance move was. Milroe still in the game, and he hands it off.
Based on your dance repertoire, I figured you know exactly what that is because it's kind of the only move you have.
Yeah, it's called the dad move. Yeah, do the dad dance.
I'm hyper, don't know what to do with my hands or my feet. I'm just going to move them fast.
55-0. The previous largest season opening win for Alabama under Nick Saban was 2016 against USC. They smoked him by 46.
Got 3 freshman wideouts.
Yeah.
Flag on the play on the completion. And here's a guy people are really excited about, Manuel Henderson Jr. Came in as a running back, moved to wide receiver.
Illegal formation on the offense, more than 4 in the backfield. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. We'll replay second down.
And if that was Henderson, he might have been thinking, well, you know, I always used to line up in the backfield.
They have high hopes for him, though, and he looks extremely natural, running routes, catching the football. A guy that has breakaway speed. He could be dangerous in the slot down the road.
6'1", 185 out of Geneva County High School on the sidelines now. And Fit into the tight end. Second catch for Kitzelman. Looks a little uncomfortable after taking that hit. Third down 5. Florida has just taken the lead on Utah. Anthony Richardson looking to lead the Gators to a major upset week 1. Wow, there's a big hit. Ike Larson delivers another knock, this time on Kendrick Law.
Yeah, this is one where Milroe's got to keep his eyes out left. So he's actually reading the outside backer outside of him. So if you start your read progression, there we go, one way, you got to keep your eyes over there, otherwise you're going to leave your receivers out to dry like that.
Good looking punt that time and a fair catch taken. 1:02 left in the third quarter. Cooler tempers prevail.
During the kick, holding on the receiving team number 7. That penalty will be enforced 10 yards from the end of the kick. First down.
Let's get it to Laura Rutledge and our friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Wherever fun happens, Academy Sports and Outdoors is there.
$55-0 Bama. We've been waiting for a while tonight, Cole, to see Jaheim Otis. He's a big freshman, not as big as he used to be, though.
No, big 91. I spoke to Amy Bragg, the director of performance nutrition here at Alabama. This young man was 418 pounds in January. He's 346 entering the season. That's right, 418 to 346. He went from 31% body fat to 21% body fat. And Amy also told me he has the highest lean mass that she's ever measured. His lean mass is in the 270s, essentially his muscle mass. I said, well, Evan Neal, DJ Fluker, she said higher than Evan. He's in DJ Fluker category, but he's a little bit ahead. And this is a young man that Coach Saban said it to us. Amy said it to us. He's done it on his own. He wanted to do it. Pete Golding said he wants to be coached. He wants to be pushed. This isn't something that we had to stay on him each and every day. He wanted a plan for the weight loss, and he stuck to that plan. And if you look at him in his uniform, guys, I don't know. He doesn't look like a guy that used to be 400 pounds to me. He's not sloppy. He's a guy that looks like he's put together well. When you hear the stories about his movement, his ability, the backflip off Saban's deck at the lake, I mean, all the stuff that he's heard about he can do, this could be the next great interior defensive lineman here at Alabama under Nick Saban.
Pete Golding started recruiting when he was in 8th grade. I said, how big was he in 8th grade? And he goes, well, maybe bigger than he is now. It's the end of the third quarter, and it's 3 quarters of Alabama dominance. Alabama averaging 8 yards a play. Utah State averaging 2. All Crimson Tide tonight.
Gary Noka in studio. It's time for 15 minutes or less, brought to you by Geico. We're going to go way less than 15 minutes. A little under a minute and a half to go. Anthony Richardson for Florida into the end zone, 3rd rushing touchdown. They lead Utah. Utes ball. They just picked up a first down in Gator territory, guys.
What a game in the swamp right now. And Terrell Vaughn with the catch and run. Anthony Richardson on zone read tonight, Jordan, has carried the ball 6 times for 40 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's efficient. I mean, look, we've known that this could happen, right? They have enough talent. Anthony Richardson is one of the more dynamic players in the entire country. As we'll keep you updated, it looks like Utah just went way into Florida territory inside the 20 now. 42 seconds left. But again, I think it was just a matter of, can Billy Napier consistently get performance out of them for 4 quarters?
Yeah.
And week after week, that's kind of what we never saw out of Florida. Be great one week, and then what happened the next week?
Levi Williams, the third string quarterback. I say third string coming into tonight for tonight's scenario, but he and Cooper Lega had shared time as the second quarterback. In fact, it was Williams who played against UConn and Lega did not.
And they're very different, right? Lega is a manager. It's his second year in the offense. He can manage the game. He's a good passer. Doesn't have elite arm talent. Levi Williams, they call him Big Truck. He's the one that's a little more dynamic with his feet, has a big old arm. Not as proficient at running everything.
They have two backup quarterbacks who were each MVP of their bowl game last year.
Yeah.
Lega did it for Utah State, and Williams did it for Wyoming.
And Wyoming was tweeting about needing a quarterback about a month before the season.
Uh-oh. The portal strikes back.
He was the first quarterback ever to rush for 200 yards, score 4 rushing touchdowns, and pass for another in a bowl game. That was in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
It's Eli Ricks showing up for Alabama right there.
Ricks, an LSU transfer. Makakona, the senior from West Valley City, Utah, was at Colorado Mesa before coming to Utah State.
It's Jaheim Otis again. Utah State actually getting some good push. Little screen, set up some blocks nicely. Nice push on the right side of the offensive line there.
Williams, it's hit in the backfield, escapes, and then took a crunching hit.
Well, there's been multiple plays up at the line of scrimmage you've seen Brian Branch make tonight. He doesn't get a lot of the hype that some of these other defensive players or even DBs do, but 14, Nick Saban told us point blank, best defensive back on the team. Said he can play nickel, he can play safety. If we had to, if it came down to it, they believe he could play corner for them. Invaluable to this Alabama defense.
Third down 1. The throw it, it's incomplete. Now Davis coming across the middle.
Boy, that's what the third slant or so that they've had an opportunity to complete. Just haven't been able to tonight for Utah State. That time, a little hot out of Lega's hands for a in-breaking route that's pretty close. Sorry, that was Levi Williams for Utah State.
They went for it fourth down in the first quarter, and they'll do it again here in the fourth, needing just 1.
They go zone read to the top here.
Yep. And Williams keeps it. He's got the first down and escorted out of bounds at the end of that run after pickup of 9.
So they get a nub side, or actually an empty side. They send everybody to one side. You get a short edge here, and you're just going to option that guy. Got to run this way. If he goes, Levi's going to keep that, and he does. Big truck. Big boy, but he's got some wheels. It's a great call there on fourth down.
I'll tell you, this will look for Alabama defensively. If you look on opposite ends of the field up front, these two corners, multiple coaches on staff will tell you that's the way they're supposed to look. The lengths of Eli Ricks and Kyrie Jackson, it's just different.
Try to run it again, and Jalen Moody, first man there.
Just got a chance to see Levi Williams, his athleticism. Blake Anderson, head coach, also said he can throw it 75 yards. 75. That's a big old huck.
They can throw right over them there mountains.
Oh, him and Uncle Rico, absolutely. Wonder if he's going to vote for Pedro.
Offside on the defense, number 91, in the neutral zone making contact. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Florida's going to hold on for a win in Billy Napier's debut, knocking off top 10 Utah. Wow. Cam Rising was leading the Utes down the field, and Florida's defense came up with the play of the night. Two big SEC versus Pac-12 wins for for the league today. Into the end zone and incomplete. Were you surprised with the ease with which Georgia dispatched Oregon to start the day?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Oregon has a great set of linebackers, but not the same up front that they were. And I just think we're realizing how good that Georgia offense really is with Stetson Bennett. Another year, the confidence, the tight ends they have. And I've said it before, I think that's the most underrated group of receivers in the SEC with A.D. Mitchell, Ladd McConkey, a couple others that contributed today as well. That defense will come along, and Georgia's going to be scary once again.
Bo Nix was intercepted twice by the Georgia defense today. Stetson Bennett threw for 368 and a couple of touchdowns. That was in one SEC Pac-12. Ball's loose, and it is fallen on by Utah State. Not Davis with the recovery.
You know what's crazy about that stat with Georgia as we look at the replay here? No, we don't need a replay.
Okay, good.
So I was looking into it a little bit earlier for our SEC Nation show, and I was just thinking Georgia's going to have to win differently, right? Their defense is going to be good, maybe not as good. So instead of 10 points a game, it's 15, 16, whatever it is. They're still going to be elite. But I was thinking this offense is going to be different. And Stetson Bennett last year in the regular season didn't throw for more than 300 yards once. Only had 17 completions. That was the most in one game. He averaged 10 completions a game in the regular season. So Stetson Bennett was a great quarterback last year. Didn't really have to do much. I think he's going to carry a lot more of a load this year with how they're going to operate on offense.
Fair catch taken. When we return, Dari Noka will show you the play that sealed the win for Florida against Utah. That's right after this timeout.
Noka, Tom mentioned it. Here's how it ended. Utah driving with a chance to beat Florida. Cam Rising picked off in the end zone by Amari Burney, and the Billy Napier era in Gainesville starts with a bang. 29-26. Gators, guys.
Sorry, that is huge for Billy Napier and that Florida fan base. Man, what a win.
That's the kind of win that can propel a team to a level that they might not have gotten to, right? You limp through that or you lose that game, that can set the tone for.
I have a comp for you. I mean, Ed Orgeron's last year at LSU, they go out to UCLA.
Yeah.
They lose that game. Next thing you know, a bunch of guys come up with ailments and can't finish the season, and they play a bowl game with like half their roster.
Yeah, and when you're a new coach, you're looking for buy-in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's always going to look at a new coach, and I've been there. James Franklin came into Vanderbilt, and you want to believe it, but you don't truly believe it till you see the product on the field, till you see the changes in action, not just in practice.
It's a good-looking throw. There's something that Bryce Young told us yesterday that I think fits that in a micro sense, and he was talking about being a leader for his teammates. And he said it's easier to correct them when they believe in you. And certainly, who would doubt him after last season? But those leadership skills that he went to Nick Saban and said, I want help in this area. And Saban was talking about it with us yesterday, and his point was, if you're the quarterback, your job relies on everyone else to do their job. Ty Simpson in the game now for Alabama quarterback. And so why wouldn't you lead them and correct them? Because if they fail, then you fail as a quarterback. Third quarterback of the night. This is Simpson, Cole, and man, he looks like the next best thing at Bama.
You talk about arm talent and ability to push the ball down the field. Throws a beautiful ball. Good poise in the pocket. Hadn't seen a ton of him, but really looked good in the spring game. What I've seen from him at practice, hard not to like what he has in that right arm.
Another one of the many former 5 stars on this roster, a dual threat guy. But you're right, when you see him throw the ball, it comes out of his hand different.
.6'2", 198. He's from Martin, Tennessee, out of Westview High School. Third down 3. Pressure coming. Tipped and incomplete.
Tell you what I loved right there, though. We saw all night Bryce Young directing traffic, right? I mentioned not just signaling to receivers, but right on that play right there, Ty Simpson slid the line. He saw pressure coming, so he did a full slide right there, so he checked the protection. That doesn't usually happen with true freshman guys coming in. You know what I mean? It doesn't. So for him to have already even just a little bit of control over the protection, honestly, 90% of offenses in the country don't let their quarterback control protection. So
they get blocked. Utah State came after Burnip, and they're able to get a hand on it. And the Aggies will have great field position now. Oof. Best play of the night for Utah State, turned in by Ike Larson.
SEC Saturday Night is presented by T-Mobile, bringing 5G to hometowns across the SEC.
Here's what makes Nick Saban elite in his own words.
I get a list every day. I try to play golf in the morning, and Miss Terry gives me a list when I get back and run the sweeper, take out the garbage, pledge the refrigerator. You know, nobody knows how well I do all those things.
I mean, sometimes you got to tell them.
Flex on them.
Short field for Utah State after the block punt. And Robert Briggs with the carry. Alabama with 24 shutouts since 07. That's the most in the country. 10 more than the next closest. If the defense can hold them here.
I was one of those. 2011.
Did you have a chance to score?
Yeah, I overthrew a double move that was wide open. That would have been like a 50, 60-yard touchdown.
Is that the same game you got ear hold?
Yeah, I was. Didn't really know my name for most of the game.
I just didn't know if he'd remember it, Cole. Briggs fighting, and they stop him short of the first down. That'll bring up 3rd and 1. Maybe we got a flag.
There is no foul for offensive holding. 3rd down.
I wasn't going to mention it, but you brought up the game, so let's take a look at one of your highlights against Alabama.
Wow. Wow, you have this. Gosh.
I watched that like I watch a NASCAR race.
My earpiece was like up by my eye. I was trying to fish it out as I was walking back to the huddle. Also had no idea where I was.
3rd and 1, and that is incomplete. Better than your ear being up by your eye.
Yeah, but
who was it that welcomed you?
Mark Barron.
Thanks,
Mark.
He
was only about 230 pounds. Probably ran a 4.5, and he got about a good 20-yard sprint right at me, and I never saw him.
How was the line of sight out of your ear hole?
It was not great. A little restrictive. It's great that we ran speed option. The very next play call was speed option the opposite way. I took one step and pitched it, and I looked over at my coach like, you got to be kidding me.
Here you go.
Utah State going for it on 4th and 1. Cooper Lagat, quarterback. Here comes the pressure from the edge, and the Aggies pick up the first down. Alabama trying to keep this shutout intact, but the Aggies with the 1st and 10 at the 20. Shot to the end zone. It is flagged on the play. Batted away by Eli Ricks and Malachi Moore helping out. We'll see which direction this one goes.
It's got to be offensive. Eli Ricks was in great position. Forced the receiver to the sideline.
There is no foul for pass interference. 2nd down.
Good to see him pick this up. Look at this, great job. Turns, plays the ball, and that's. I think they easily could have kept that on the field and called that on the offense, but really good coverage there by Eli Ricks.
Jalen Royals, the intended receiver. Pylon Camp shout out. Kendrick Blackshire with the takedown. Think about Pete Golding, defensive coordinator for Alabama, and the desire for this unit to finish this thing off and finish off a shutout.
Yeah, I mean, this was a defense that was really good last year. I think we're just overshadowed because of how historical Georgia was, but they were right up there with almost every category with Georgia.
Top 20 overall scoring defense, 4th in the country in rush D, and 7th in total yardage. Needing 10 to get 4.
You know, we've seen Utah State take some shots down the sideline, right? Yeah. I keep looking at it going, man, they got no room. Well, these receivers start so wide as it is. You don't really start with any room either, you know, so if you're going to try to run around them, you're already almost at the sideline. I like to see one of these times, if they have man-to-man coverage out there, bring that receiver in just a couple steps. Give yourself some room out there for the quarterback to put the ball.
Well, shutout riding on this one. Utah State doesn't want the field goal, down 55 to keep the offense on the field. Needing 7. There's a shot to the end zone and incomplete. And a flag down. Nana Davis, defended by Brian Branch.
Well, there is no foul for pass interference. The ball was uncatchable. The ball will go over on downs. First down.
Alabama with its second 4th down stop. And that is big for Pete Golding and the defense. They keep the shutout intact.
Alabama, a guy who was not going to go into journalism, but he had a buddy in the sports information department that needed some help. He said he'd come over and help. Kind of fell in love with it, and then became a guy that worked in the sports information department here in Alabama. We're going to work for the Tuscaloosa News. That's the only place that he would spend his entire career, covering the Crimson Tide for multiple decades, and did it better than anyone. A national writer that a lot of people really knew, loved, and respected. And Alabama fans growing accustomed to somebody that if you were around, you enjoyed talking to him. He was a walking Alabama football encyclopedia. And I know we all miss his columns, we miss his presence, and we miss his humor on social media. And I tell you guys, there's no doubt in my mind that Cecil, Fluff, and Slim Charles are sitting up there watching us, laughing at how we're calling this game, and probably most of the things that we don't know about this Alabama football team.
No doubt about that. Cecil started at Tuscaloosa News in 1980. The plaque you saw was put in the press box here at Bryant-Denny Stadium to begin the season. We asked Nick Saban about Cecil Hurt yesterday. There's a flag on the play. Cole, his immediate response really said all you need to know about it, but Nick's point about his respect for Cecil Hurt, Cole, all centered around his professionalism.
Absolutely. And there are just different reactions that you get from Nick Saban with different individuals when you ask him about it. And Tom, I thought that was one of those times. He was on his way out of the office, turned and stopped, and just wanted to talk about it, wanted to share his thoughts about Cecil. And he said, man, he was old school in a great way, in the way that everybody should be. He said, I loved him, respected him, and we definitely miss him.
And to be specific about the exchange, he said, you know, I could tell Cecil something and say, you can't use this. You can't tell anybody about it. And I knew that it wasn't going anywhere. And that trust was built over decades, truly. You know, we miss him, and shout out to Fluff, his mom, that's where Plaid comes from tonight, that we're all donning. Simpson swings it out, and a little bit of room for Isaiah Bond, and another flag coming in. Bond taken down deep into Utah State territory. 47 yards if it stays.
illegal block in the back. On the offense, number 24, that penalty will be enforced 10 yards from the spot of the foul for first down.
The freshman blocking downfield.
Emmanuel Henderson.
Can't do that.
Oh, this is so good for these receivers, though.
You know, we're talking with Saban yesterday about allowing your players to improve. And really, the conversation was about what do you allow from a mistake standpoint. And he said mental mistakes, none. They will never be accepted. They cannot be accepted. If you don't know what you are supposed to be doing and you make a mental mistake, then you don't need to be on the field. Pete Golding, there's a horse collar tackle, was not more forgiving about it, but he was more understanding that young players are going to make mistakes. His point was, if you're going to make a mistake, you better be doing it full steam. And that we can live with.
Personal foul, illegal horse collar tackle on the defense, number 15. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run and carries an automatic first down.
But Cole, big part of that conversation was, as we discussed before, the comp to Amari Cooper was building depth. And in games like this, an opportunity to get freshmen on the field to learn who you can trust and learn who knows where they're supposed to be. And Nick Saban said mental mistakes will never be forgiven.
I love the quote that he used with us. He said, you can't play winning football physically when you don't know what you're doing. And I think any of us that have played the game completely understand that. If you're questioning anything about your assignment or your alignment or who you're covering or where you're throwing the football or who to block, you're not going to give it full speed. There's always going to be a little bit of that doubt that creeps into the back of your mind, and these reps help build that confidence.
Jamarian Miller with another carry, this time 2 for a loss. All right, so next week Alabama gets Texas. Game day is going to be in Austin for the Alabama-Texas matchup. That will be
massive.
Yeah, massive is right.
I was such a big fan of Steve Sarkisian when he was the offensive coordinator here. I think he's a brilliant offensive mind. Quinn Ewers, I think you said earlier, a couple touchdowns.
Yep.
Right from the freshman or first year. I don't know. What year are they anymore anyway?
I don't know.
Yeah, his first time playing. Yeah, his first time playing. He's a talented quarterback. We've talked a lot about the secondary, right? That's one of the things that a lot of guys rotating on the outside, they're going to be tested.
2nd and 12. Finally lost to one of his assistants last year when Jimbo got him. Whatever happened with that relationship?
Well, I think Netflix is doing a documentary about it. 30 for 30. It will be on ESPN. And Paul Feinbaum has a book coming out about it.
That's right. 55-0 is the final. Bryce Young, 5 touchdowns, all in the first half. Threw for 195, and he ran for more yards in this game than he did all of last season. Big win for Bama. Nick Saban is with Cole.
Coach Saban, we talked a lot about the youth that was going to get into this football game. I'll switch around for you. A lot of the youth that you guys were going to play in this game, you want them to finish. You want them, if they make a mistake, to go full speed. How did you feel about that part of your team in the second half specifically?
Well, you know, I told the guys, if you get an opportunity to play, you got to be ready to take advantage of the opportunity that you have. And a lot of guys have a hard time really focusing on getting ready to play when they don't know if they're going to play or not. So the penalties, the mental errors, and the things that those guys have an opportunity to learn from will be really good for them.
Bryce Young had an opportunity to do a lot of different things tonight. I don't know how you feel about him running down the field trying to juke everybody, but every aspect of his game looked clean to us. How did it look to you?
Yeah, Bryce played really, really well. I mean, if you ask Bryce, he'd say, hey, I missed a couple things, which he had a couple guys open that, you know, he missed, and he's the first one to know it and the first one to admit it. But, you know, he played great in the game, and, you know, we're pleased, and we're going to have to play better as a team as we move along, and there'll be a lot of good lessons for us to learn from this experience.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
When Bryce Young finishes a game, the other team starts a receiving line for him. You don't see that very often. Alabama dominates, another season-opening win for Nick Saban. He has never lost. First game of the year as Alabama's head coach. 55-0 is the final here. Let's get you back to the studio. Here's Dari and the fellas.
All right, Tom, thank you very much.